When I first started working out, I really wanted to get a pull-up, and so I tried and I trained and I saw a little bit of progress. But then my progress stalled, and it felt like the bar wasn't getting any closer. And so I scoured the internet, I watched every how-to and training guide there was, I picked up every tip, and then eventually I got my pull-up. And then I got another 4. And finally, today I'm getting 10 pull-ups. So to save you some time, I'm going to condense everything I learned, the best advice I found, and the exercises that took me from 0 to 10 pull-ups. I'll also give you a sample routine to help you program pull-ups into your training. We're going to go over some tips as well as some common mistakes, and then I'm going to give you the absolute best exercises that you can use to get your first pull-up or your next 9. And first, let's talk about grip. You can either place your hands so that your thumbs are wrapped underneath the bar, and I like to do this because it gives me a bit of a better hold on the bar, but you can also place your thumbs over top. And I like to use this if I'm hanging off of a relatively thicker bar. If you don't know which one to use, try both variations and then choose the one that feels more natural to you. If you find yourself slipping from the bar and starting to hang from your fingertips, this can mean one of 2 things. Either your hands are slippery, in which case this is an easy fix and you can just add some chalk, or more likely, your grip is weak. But don't worry, because this is super common when you're starting out and there's a lot you can do to increase your grip strength. First, there's tools you can use like this that will immediately improve your grip strength, but I would discourage you from using these because they don't actually improve your grip strength, they just avoid the problem. In fact, they almost encourage you to hang off of your wrists rather than improving your grip strength. So really, I don't see any place for these in your workout. Instead, what you want to do is use moves that are going to increase your grip strength. And one of the best moves for that is the dead hang. To perform this exercise, ideally, you're going to want to find a bar that is high enough that you can completely hang off of. But in my experience, this has been difficult to find. So the one I do have to bend my knees, and that's okay. The main thing that we're working on here is improving our grip strength. So if you need to, you can use your toes on the ground as you're starting out if this move is still too difficult for you. Otherwise, start this practice with a 10-second hold, increasing that up to 20 or maybe up to 30 seconds. After 30 seconds, I find that this exercise gets a little bit boring, so you can also incorporate single arm holds or even switching in between to add a little bit of interest to the exercise. Next thing to talk about is how to start your pull-up, and that's with scapular movement. So you want to think about bringing your shoulder blades down and together on your back. And the easiest way to train this is taking your dead hang into an active hang. You can also move in and out of the active hang and dead hang, turning this into a shrug exercise. When you're doing this exercise, focus on the movement of your shoulder blades. You want to avoid bending the elbows and just work on your shoulder blade movement here. And even if this exercise is relatively easy for you, it's still a great move to use as a warm-up before you get into your pull-ups. And just like before, if this move is too difficult, then you can use your toes on the ground to take a little bit of the weight off of your hands. And for some added difficulty, you can also try one-arm shrugs. But if you're doing the single arm variation, I would suggest doing it as well as the conventional shrug, because this movement really helps in activating the right muscles when you go to work towards your pull-ups. Next up, we're going to talk about arms and your elbow position as you're pulling up into the move. And we're going to start off practicing with a band. Just like in our active hang, we're going to start this move with the scapular movement, bringing the shoulder blades down and together. You're then going to drive your elbows down towards your body, ending at about a 45-degree angle. You want to make sure here to keep your elbows in line with your body, so you don't want your elbows to be jutting out forward from your body. This can cause a lot of strain in your elbow and can lead to injury in the long term. Also make sure not to round your shoulders at the end of the move. If you're having trouble engaging your back muscles, or you're just not sure whether you're engaging the right muscles, you can also try this one arm at a time, taking the hand position out of the equation. To set up, place the band underneath your tricep, and then place your hand on the band, but don't grab onto the band. Drive your elbows down, keep your shoulder blades down, and bring your elbow to that 45-degree angle. Moving back up to the bar, we're going to talk about your body position during your pull-up. There's 2 variations of the pull-ups that you can work towards. The first that I'm going to talk about is the hollow body, and the other is what I'm going to call a back bending pull-up. Now there is some controversy about these two different pull-ups, but I don't think either one are wrong. They have their pros and cons, and it's up to you to decide which one you want to train or if you want to try out both. Personally, I prefer the hollow body, in part because I can't perform the back bending variation as well. And I think this is because in the hollow body variation, it's much easier to engage your core and tense those muscles, which in turn makes it easier to tense your back muscles as well, or at least that's what I've found. And the last benefit is, in my opinion, the hollow body just is aesthetically nicer than the back bending variation. In contrast, if all you're looking for from a pull-up is to increase your back strength, then the back bending variation is actually better at building those muscles. I also briefly wanted to talk about swinging and kipping into the movement, and this is something you'll commonly see in CrossFit, so I'm not going to speak too much on it because I'm not too familiar or practiced in CrossFit. But I'd say if you're just starting on your pull-up journey, or if you're working towards making your pull-ups cleaner or more reps, then it's better off to start without kipping, without swinging, and just work on your strict pull-ups. In this way, you're going to get better at your form and better at your strength. But it's all about your goals. If you're just trying to get your chin to the bar, then kipping might be beneficial. If you're trying to increase your strength or get that nice clean pull-up, then kipping is not necessarily going to be the best choice for you. The one exception I'd say is when you're working a set and you're on that 4th or 5th rep and you're trying to just eke out one more. I find that I will naturally add a little bit of a kip just to get my body up to the bar. So adding a little bit of kip is okay, but that's a big indicator that your form is starting to break down and you're on your last rep. But no matter where you are in your pull-up journey, it's important to keep the movement slow and controlled and avoid dropping into your joints at the bottom of the move. Next, we're going to talk about some exercise progressions that you can use no matter where you are to either increase your pull-up strength or get that first pull-up. First up, I'm going to talk about this horizontal row. To set up, you can either use a barbell like I have, or you can also use rings or the TRX straps. To increase the difficulty of the move, all you need to do is lower the bar and place your feet further away. The next exercise increases the difficulty slightly, while also being more mechanically similar to a pull-up. For this exercise, you're going to keep your hips as close to underneath your shoulders as possible. You can set this up by either keeping your feet on the ground or by placing your feet on a bench or bar. And I like this variation better because when you have your feet on the ground, it's hard to apply a consistent amount of resistance, and it's easy to cheat the move. Next and best exercise that I'm going to show is the negative pull-up. Now this is a great exercise because no matter where you are in a pull-up, you'll probably be able to do some variation of this pull-up negative. If you're a very beginner, you can keep your feet on the ground while performing the move. And if you're working on improving your pull-up strength, you can add these to the end of a set, because even if you don't have any more reps left, you can usually do at least a couple of these pull-up negatives. And last up, the banded pull-up. This can be great if you're still working on getting that first pull-up, but it is a little bit tricky to find the right amount of resistance. So if you don't have a band or you don't particularly like this setup, don't worry, the pull-up negatives are going to help you just as much. And now I'm going to talk about a sample routine. Keep in mind that these are just suggestions, and it's up to you to pick and choose what's right for you. Warming up, we're going to start off with dead hangs. So whether that means jumping on and off for 5 seconds at a time, or holding for the full 30 seconds, choose a variation that works for you. Optional here, you can also work in your single arm hangs. And again, these are great just to add some variety and keep things entertaining. Then move into shoulder shrugs, either with your feet still on the ground or fully hanging. Perform this for about 5 to 10 reps, really focusing on your scapular movement here. Last warm-up exercise, we're going to be doing these lat pull downs with the band for 10 to 15 reps. And now getting into the real workout. If you're working towards that first pull-up, take any easier progression that you can do for 4 to 5 reps. Then move to the bar and perform as many pull-up negatives as you can do. Repeat this for 3 to 4 sets. And if you're working to increase your pull-up strength, start with as many pull-ups as you can do now, ending with 2 to 3 negatives for 3 to 4 sets. No matter what variations you take, these exercises will help you in gaining your pull-up strength. And above all, consistency in your training is going to help you get those pull-ups.